And we start with our top story. At least 41 civilians have been killed and over 140 others injured after Russia launched a wave of missile strikes against Ukrainian cities. Now, targets allegedly include the country's biggest, most equipped children's hospital in Kyiv. The hospital is also the main treatment center for children with cancer. With an unknown number of victims feared trapped under the rubble, the attack is the deadliest in the series of airstrikes in months. Take a look.
This is the moment a Russian missile hit Kyiv's main children's hospital. In a rare daytime attack, Russia launched a barrage of missiles on cities across Ukraine on Monday. Dozens were killed, officials said. Tetiana ran out of the building, carrying her little girl Edri, her catheter still in place.
We came here 5 minutes before it all happened. We managed to get to the pediatric ward. I don't know, it is a nightmare. I don't even know if it was a missile hit or fragments of a missile.
After the strike, hundreds of local residents flocked to the hospital offering water and assistance. Svetlana and her husband Vladimir emerged from the hospital bomb shelter. Their 2-month-old baby was unharmed, but Svetlana suffered cuts.
My wife has come here. She drove here. Then it all started. My son began crying, so she did not go to the hospital. She ran to the bomb shelter instead. Then there was the explosion. The car is no more. But we are all okay. There was not enough time for the baby to get scared. But you see what's going on here. No words, even swear words can describe it. But what matters most is that they are alive. Never mind the car. We'll buy a better one. All will be fine.
Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said emergency service workers could hear people under the rubble and were racing to save them. The attack on the capital was one of the largest of the war, he added. After the attack, President Vladimir Zelensky, who was in Poland for a news conference, held a minute of silence and said Ukraine would retaliate for the strikes. The Russian Defense Ministry said its forces carried out strikes on defense industry targets and aviation bases in Ukraine. Moscow has repeatedly denied targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure. However, its attacks have killed thousands of civilians since it launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022. This one comes a day before leaders of NATO countries are due to begin a 3-day summit in Washington, with the war in Ukraine high on the agenda.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed to retaliate. He called upon his Western allies to help give Moscow a befitting reply. In a statement released by the White House, U.S. President Joe Biden has condemned the attack, calling it, and I'm quoting here, a horrific reminder of Russia's brutality. The State Department added that Washington, along with NATO allies, will announce new measures to boost Ukraine's air defense systems later this week. The U.S. State Department has said that 5 Ukrainian cities were struck with over 40 different caliber missiles. Spokesperson Matthew Miller reiterated additional military support for Ukraine while alleging Russia of intentionally targeting civilian sites.
The Secretary General strongly condemns today's missile attack by the Russian Federation, hitting residential and civilian infrastructure across Ukraine. Directing attacks against civilian and civilian objects is prohibited by international humanitarian law.
Well, as we just heard, the United Nations has also came down heavily on the latest Russian assault. This was a UN chief spokesperson who called for a barrage shocking. This comes as the president for the UN Security Council lies with Russia for the month of July.
just to be clear, these are sites that serve no military purpose. They're not sheltering Ukrainian military assets, but once again, we've seen Putin deliberately attacking civilian infrastructure as part of his bloody war against Ukraine.